Have you ever wanted to know everything about King's Dominion and my thoughts on the park? Then you have clicked on the right video because I'm Airtime Maniac and I will be reviewing King's Dominion, an amusement park in Dawesville, Virginia, USA. I've had the opportunity to visit King's Dominion over spring break, one evening and a full day, and boy, I had a blast. This park is fantastic. First, I will tell you about the location. This park is nestled in the tall trees of Dawesville, Virginia, and if you're driving on I-95, you will see it, just not much of it. When I first saw King's Dominion, the first coaster I saw was Intimidator 305. This is a high Giga coaster made by Untitled, notorious for making riders gray out or black out. Unfortunately, I took my first trip to this park during spring break time, so I-305 wasn't open for the year yet. This means I won't be doing a full review on the ride alone. This also means I won't be guessing the experience, and I won't be counting it in my rankings of King's Dominion. Anyway, besides the other coasters you see when you pull up to the park, there's Dominator, an intense Voyager Mabillard floorless coaster. Enough about the coasters already. I will get more into that later. Let's talk about the overall appearance of the park. When you drive up to the park, you are presented with narrow and little parking tools, or whatever they're called. So there must be some serious traffic backup issues sometimes. Just keep that in mind. The entrance, which could have been bigger and grander, opens up to reveal an extremely beautiful and floral International Street. Kings Island, King's Dominion's sister park, also has an International Street, but there is a big difference. Shade and flowers. First, Virginia already has huge trees compared to Ohio, where Kings Island is, but King's Dominion is so chock full of trees, it is like a forest in there. If you go to Kings Island and walk on International Street, there will be a few small trees. That means like no shade. Also, I want to point out that King's Dominion has many flowers. This makes the park look so nice. As a centerpiece, like Kings Island, there is a massive 1/3 replica of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, standing at the end of International Street. Let's move on to attractions. Just keep in mind, I didn't get the opportunity to ride the defunct Hypersonic XLC, a unique S&S air-compressed launch coaster, nor also defunct Volcano the Blast Coaster, another cool inverted coaster that blasted you through a volcano with inversions, built by Intamin. I also didn't get to ride Intimidator 305, as I said earlier, and Grizzly because it is getting a retracking by the Gravity Group. Currently, King's Dominion is home to 13 roller coasters, 33 rides, and 2 water rides. In terms of coasters, I have ridden 8 of them. I didn't ride the Great Pumpkin Coaster because I plainly just didn't want to waste my time on it, but I did ride both Anaconda and Woodstock Express for the credit. Since I rode Woodstock Express in the back row, I actually got some real airtime, not just pops of it. And don't even get me started on Anaconda. Let's review the areas of the park. The newest themed area, Jungle Expedition, which opened in 2022 and replaced Volcano, is the nicest, best, and most heavily themed area in the park. It is home to 2 coasters, Tumbili, which was a new for 2022 coaster, and S&S 40 Free Spin, which is actually a lot of fun. The first coaster of that type that I rode. I also rode it 4 times, 2 forward, 2 backward. I will have a separate review on that coaster alone. Anyway, let's get on to the next coaster in the area, Reptilian. Formerly a white track bobsled coaster called Avalanche, it was rethemed to the jungle, renamed to Reptilian, and repainted to orange to fit the area. Other attractions in the themed area include Arachnidia, I don't really know how to say it, Scrambler Ride. I did not ride this. Something I want to point out, though, is King's Dominion's food. You would expect a normal amusement park to have funnel cakes, hot dogs, and stuff like that. Not that King's Dominion doesn't have that food, but some of the restaurants are top tier. These are mainly Grain and Grill on International Street and the Outpost Cafe. Though, I will stop talking about where you should eat here because I will talk more about that in my next video where I tell you how to plan your trip to King's Dominion. Restaurants in Jungle Expedition include Excavator's Taters, the Jungle Market Eatery, and the Outpost Cafe. These are all really great options to eat in the park. Personally, my favorite is the Outpost Cafe. Enough about the restaurants in this vicinity, let's move on to live entertainment in this area. There's one cool and interactive show, and it is called Let's Get Wild. That's enough about Jungle Expedition alone, so let's get on to the next so-called area. Also, I want to point out, I won't be talking about Winterfest or Haunt or Grand Carnival because I haven't been to any of those, so I can't talk about them. Anyway, if you walk far back into the end of Jungle Expedition, you will hit a pretty plain area with no theming. I mean, it's kind of part of Jungle Expedition, but kind of not. The main attractions there are Backlot Sun Coaster, which smells like sulfur, and Flight of Fear. Both of these coasters I just mentioned are clones of Kings Islands. Anaconda is also over here. I mean, I only did it for the credit. Never mind. Anyway, the only substantial ride in this area is I-305, my bucket list ride for the park, and then I don't get to ride it. Like, seriously, guys, that's what I came for, and I don't even get to ride it. But you can't blame King's Dominion. It is hard at spring break for King's Dominion to have good operations, especially considering Twisted Timbers, I will get to that coaster later, is only operating one train. And most of the rides there right now are operating one train. You would never see that at Kings Island. They usually have almost all three train ops, which is great. This is because most ride operators are in school. The lines took longer, but they were well worth it. Anyway, I don't really care for this area, so I'm just going to move on. Candy Apple Grove is a charming area of the park. Right when you walk into this section of the park, you are greeted by singing mushrooms. These were brought back for King's Dominion's 40th anniversary. It consists of 4 mushrooms and a toad playing the piano, which is actually a tree stump. It is just so much fun. Anyway, this area of the park is so huge and widespread. One notable feature about the area is that it hosts one of the entrances to the park's water park, Soak City, similar to Kings Island's. Personally, I think this is not a good thing. When I went to KD, I didn't go to the water park since it wasn't open due to the fact that it was only early April. This means I won't be talking any more about it. Anyway, the rides and attractions in this area include Twisted Timbers, an awesome RMC hybrid, Apple Zapple, a great wild mouse coaster, Americana, a classic Ferris wheel, Bad Apple, a clone of Kings Island's Shake, Rattle, and Roll, a cute carousel, Delirium, which wasn't open when I was there, Wave Swinger, a clone of Kings Island's Zephyr, Drop Tower, an Intamin Gyro Tower, and another coaster, Racer 75, which used to be called Rebel Yell, also a clone of Kings Island's. If you are looking to eat here, then your only options are the Country Kitchen, the Mac Bowl, and a classic pizza place, kind of similar to La Rose's. That's pretty much it for this area, so let's get on to the next section of the park. Old Virginia is a classic wooded part of the park with few attractions. This area just gives me a foresty vibes, even more trees than International Street. The rides here are Blue Ridge Tollway, a wooded version of Kings Island's Antigatos, some go-karts, Flying Eagles, a pair of Larson flying scooters. Speaking of Larson International, go check out my last video where I talk about some shocking news that has to do with RMC and this company. They have a wooden coaster, Grizzly, which is very hidden, and as I said earlier, I didn't get to ride it. The water rides here are Shenandoah Lumber Company, a log flume, and Whitewater Canyon, a river raft ride, similar to Kings Island's. Both these attractions are hidden, like Grizzly. The places to eat here are the Parched Pig and Dogwood's Grill. This place is just nice and scenic overall. Now let's talk about the bigger and better Planet Snoopy. This kids area is one of the larger ones in the Cedar Fair chain. They are home to many rides. The notable ones being Charlie Brown's Wind-Up, a ride that I actually chose to ride. Like, oh my gosh, that was ridiculous, so fun. The only reason I did this was because it looked bigger than the one at Kings Island and I was curious to try it out. And it was bigger. So, you tilt like Wave Swinger. The other ones were Joe Cool's Driving School, a cool kiddie electric freely driven car ride. I enjoyed Flying Ace, kind of a mini Windseeker, and Flying Ace Balloon Race, basically teacups in the sky. Guess what? I said enjoyed, but I didn't emphasize that enough. This kids area is a blast. It's so much better than Kings Island's. This area is also home to 2 roller coasters, the Great Pumpkin Coaster and Woodstock Express, which seem to run faster than Kings Island's. This area is home to Kings Dominion's only dark ride, Boo Blasters. I didn't ride this, but I heard, again, it's the best one in the Cedar Fair chain. There is one live show in this area, and it is called Charlie Brown's Pirate Adventure. Other attractions not in a designated area include Berserker, basically like Viking ship at Kings Island, but it goes upside down and has over-the-shoulder restraints. Dodge 'em, Eiffel Tower, Windseeker, and Extreme Skyflyer are a few others. Speaking of the Eiffel Tower, there is a long pathway in the park where the trees are towering over you, and the Eiffel Tower at night is lit up. It's just so beautiful. There are also lots of other restaurants and treats on International Street and other parts of the park. At the end of the day, in terms of is Kings Dominion or Kings Island better, I'd go with Kings Island. This is only because 1, Kings Island is my home park, and 2, they have a better coaster lineup. Not that Kings Dominion doesn't have any good roller coasters. As Coaster Studios said, there's only a couple parks in the world that can say they have a Giga and an RMC. But my first visit I really enjoyed, and I bet I still will in years to come. That's going to do it for this video. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I will see you all later. Goodbye.